Okay, in this question, it's given to you that a large survey of starting salaries in the UAE showed that for accounting graduates, the starting salary had a mean of, and then it gives you the mean, 22,500 dirhams, and the standard deviation of 1,400 dirhams. So immediately from this, I'm going to write here that the mean is 22,500 and the standard deviation is 1,400. Okay, and then if the distribution of these salaries is normal, so very good, it means that we can use the Z-score, determine the probability of selecting a person, and so you have four things. Whose salary was greater or less or between, and then there is a fourth question. But let me first define my random variable x because it's not given here. So let x be the random variable. So let x be the random variable. It's a continuous random variable, of course, which is the starting salary. So let it be starting salary. So if you let x be this, you are given that this x is a normal distribution. So this is a normal distribution, and this is why we can immediately use the z-score table after changing x to z. Remember that the z-score is equal to x minus mu over sigma for in this case. So let's just read the questions again and write what we're asked. So in this one, we're asked the salary is greater than, so we want the probability, so the probability that the salary or the starting salary x is greater than 25,000. So this is what the first question is asking. It's asking this is what, and this one you want the probability that the starting salary is less than 19,000. So you're asking what is this probability? Okay, and for the third one, the salary between 20,000 and 24,500. So the probability that 20,000 less than x less than 24,500. This is equal to what? And the last question, let us do it when we reach it. So let's first solve the A, B, and C. So I'm going to go to the next page to solve A. So the salary greater than 25,000. So we want the probability that x is bigger than 25,000. Since x has a normal distribution, I can change this using the z-score. So this is the probability that x minus mu over sigma is bigger than 25,000 minus mu. Remember, it was 22,500 divided by sigma. The standard deviation was 1,400 dirhams. And so this will be the probability that, now remember that x minus mu over sigma, this is z, the z-score. This is the probability that the z-score is bigger than, if you do the calculation of what we have here on your calculator, you will get 1.79. This is up to 2 digits after the decimal. So remember now, how do we find the probability that the z-score is bigger than a number? If you remember the formula, it was 1 minus the probability that z is less than the same number, 1.79. And if you want to remember why, it's because if you have the normal distribution like this, and then you want z bigger than 1.79, so 1.79 is approximately here, so let's say this is 1.79, so I want the probability that z is bigger, so I want this area. The area to the right, this is the probability that z is bigger than 1.79. And we know that the z-score table gives us the area below. It's giving us this number, the z-score table. So, and we know that the total area is 1. So this is why the green area is 1 minus the orange area. So let us now find what this is. This is 1 minus, and now the z-score table will give us this probability. So we need to find z less than 1.79. So we go to the z-score table, So, and then 1.7 is here, and 9 is here. So I move it with this until I reach the last one. And so the answer to this is 0.9633. Okay? And so you go back and you write it where it belongs. So this will be 1 minus, remember it was 0.9633. And this will give you, on your calculator if you do it, 0.0367. So this will be the probability. And if you want to write it as a percentage, this is the same as 3.67%. You notice that it's a small probability. It is because, you know, this area is very small compared to the total area. And so it's just about 4% of the total area. Yeah, 1.79 should be a little bit to the right, but it's okay. I mean, you get the idea from the graph. Now let's go to the next question, and this one is easier than the previous one because we want the probability that the starting salary X, that we called X, is less than 19,000. So this probability, change it to the z-score, so it will be probability that X minus mu over sigma is less than 19,000 minus mu, which was 22,500, divided by sigma, which is 1,400. And so this will be the probability of Z less than, if you do this on your calculator, you'll get negative 2.5. Let me just add a 0 to it. So negative 2.50, exactly it will be this. And now you can use the Z table immediately because it's the probability of Z less than. So it's the area to the left already. And that's what the Z-score table gives you. So let's go to the Z-score table and get negative 2.5 is here. Negative 2.50, of course. So the number that we're after is here, this number. So make it bigger. It's 0.0062. So I go back and I put it here, so this is 0.0062, which is, if you want to write it as a percentage, it will be 0.62%, which is a very small probability. You remember, if you draw the the normal distribution, the standard normal distribution curve, you have it like this, and the question was Z less than negative 2.5. So negative 2.5 is here. And so you want the area below it. You expect it to be very small compared to the total area, which is 1. So this is less than 1%, this area. Now let's go to the next one. You want the probability that the salary, the starting salary X, is between 20,000 and 24,500. And so this is, you just change to the Z score. So this will be 20,000 minus the mean, 22,500, over the standard deviation, 1,400, less than, this is X minus mu over sigma instead of X, which is Z. We write that Z. And this one will be 24,500 minus 22,500 divided by 1,400. And now change everything in terms of Z and compute the numbers. So if you use your calculator, you'll get, and do it to 2 digits after the decimal, you'll get negative 1.79. This number is what you will get from here. Less than, now X minus mu over sigma, this is the same as Z. I'll put it in green. Less than, and so you see, very quickly I did it. So when you look at the table, you get these, and so this will be 88.69%. Remember, what is this? It's the area between two Z scores under the standard normal distribution curve. So the Z scores in this case minus 1.79. So let's say it's here minus 1.79, and 1.43. 1.43. So the area that we found is the area between these two, which looks like a very big portion of the total area. So, you know, we got it to be 88.69% of the total area, which agrees with what we see right now. The total area is 1, and so this area is 0.8869. Okay, and let's go to the last part. This last part, what would be the maximum salary of a person who was in the bottom 15%, so the bottom 15% of the salary range? So let's understand this first. I'm going to draw the graph so that you understand it better. So the normal distribution curve looks like, this is the standard normal distribution curve, and you want the bottom 15%. So this means that you want the area below this part, the area here, to be the bottom part of this, to be 15%. You want this area, so it's an area, to be 15%. So let us do something. We will call this number here Z0, the Z score that comes exactly at the border here, call it Z0. So area is 15%, means that it's 0.1500. I mean, area, you always do it to 4 digits after the decimal, but if already has zeros, you don't need to write 00. You just put 0.15. But I put it 4 digits so that when you look at the Z table, you can find it easier. So remember that this area is also the same as the probability that Z is less than Z0. Okay? And also, notice that you want maximum salary of a person. So what you need is to find the X of this person. Or since we called Z0, let's call it X0. So we want to find this X0. So the question is, you want to find the probability of Z less than Z0 equals to 0.1500. So if we have the area, how do we find the Z score? This is, how do you find it? We know how to do it. We did it in part 2 of this, using the Z table. But I'm going to do it again for you. And then once you find the Z score, look at what you'll do. Then you will find X0. But X0 is the value whose Z score is Z0. So remember, I can write it here. Z0, the Z score of X0, it's X0 minus mu over sigma. So if you have this, and from it you want to find X0, X0 will be sigma times Z0 plus mu. So what you will do here, X will be sigma times Z0 plus mu. And remember, we have sigma, it's 1,400, okay? Times the Z0, I'm going to keep it here, we don't know it yet, plus mu, it was 22,500 for this question. So all what we need is to find this Z0 and then plug it in here. So I'm going to put it there. Now, how do we find this Z0? Look again at the thing that's given here. The area, this here, the area to the left. Area to the left of the Z score. So we go to the table and try to find where is this 0.1500 as an area. So you look in the body of the table. So let's go to the table and see. If you look carefully, let's see where you can find it. Notice that here, okay, you look, this is 0.1515 and this is 0.1492. Even though it's between them, but it's much closer to the 0.1492 than the other one. So I forget about this. I only take the one that is closest to it. If it was exactly in the middle, then I would average the Z scores, but it's not in the middle. It's closer to the value here. So it is with this value. So let's see, it's coming from negative 1.04. So this is Z0, the Z score is negative 1.04. And let's take this and plug it back in here. So negative 1.04. And I can write it also here. So this question mark, now we know it's negative 1.04. And now you find your x value finally. So x is equal to this multiplication here. If you do it in your calculator, you will get exactly 21,044 dirhams, DHS. So this will be the salary or starting salary that a person should get, so that they are in the bottom 15% of this. So this is the z-score that was here that we wanted to find. We found that it's negative 1.04, and from it gave us the x, or the x0 we called it in this case. You can call it x0 is a good name because z0, so call it x0. If it's z, call it x. So remember, it's the standard deviation times the z-score plus the mean. And this is coming, this formula here, it's not coming from nothing, it's coming from this formula, the formula that we already know for the z-score. So this is the starting salary of a person in the bottom 15% of the salary range. So it's not a bad salary, of course, but if someone is making this, notice that, remember, the mean was 22,500. That was the mean of the salaries per month. So this is less than, of course, less than the mean because it's in the bottom 15%. So when they tell you bottom 15%, it means less than your z-score or less than your data value. If they say in the top 15%, then the question would be different. You would be looking at the z-score here that has 15% above it. Yeah, but it was not our question. Our question is solved now. Please watch using the z-table questions and then try solving this again, because this is something that is nice to do after you have mastered the z-table. Make sure that you master the z-table, and then all these questions will be very simple for you. And I will stop here.